Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Data. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about Postgres on AWS. I am one of your regular show hosts. I'm Tony Mullen. You've probably seen me on here lots. I'm a database guy, so this is right up my street, talking about databases. And I've got some awesome guests with us today. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, Paola, do you want to start?
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday evening or afternoon to everyone. I'm Paola Lorusso. I'm a manager of a great team of database specialist solutions architect in AWS. I joined AWS in 2018 as database specialist, and I moved into the manager role in 2021. And now I'm leading this team. It's a wonderful team supporting customers, partners, ISVs, all to develop their database workload in AWS with our database service.
And kudos, you're a good boss, Paola. Paola's my
Thanks.
boss.
My pleasure.
Siki, do you want to go next, please?
I can go next. Thanks, Tony. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sikandar. You can call me Siki, as Tony just said. I'm based in Berlin, Germany, and I'm working here in AWS for the last 4.5 years almost. I primarily worked with relational databases of the likes of PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQL Server, and I help AWS customers to solve their problems with respect to their architecture. So whatever they need around their application, around their databases, that's where I come in and help them out.
Awesome. Over to you, Marco.
Yeah, absolutely. So hello to everyone. My name is Marco Tamasia, principal technical trainer in AWS and a former DBA, database administrator. My main activity basically is teaching AWS courses for my department, AWS training and certification. But I'm also passionate about databases. In fact, I joined AWS as a DBA in AWS 10 years ago, getting the chance to see our cloud platform on the other side, from the other side. And then I moved to the trainer role 2 years after. So thank you, Tony, for inviting me today.
No, great to have you. Great to have you from the training side of things. So we got a nice group of DBAs here, because even you were a DBA in the past as well, weren't you, Paola? So we're
exactly.
a group of DBAs
For years. Yes, absolutely.
So, excellent. We've also got Ibram. He's going to be our chat support today, dropping lots of nice links in as we go through the show today. Drop in the chat as well. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know, as we always do, what is the weather like. I'll always give you my Manchester freezing cold weather update, which it is today. We very rarely see sunshine and it is cold. So how about you guys? I mean, we've got Milan and we've got Berlin. So what's it like in Milan?
It's a shiny day. It's very sunny today, but it's cold. Yes, a bit.
I mean,
but perfect to go outside and have fun. Yes.
How about you, Siki? Is it cold in Berlin? It does get some cold weather there, don't you?
It is, and I'm used to it, to be honest. But the weather outside is sunny, so it's the last few days of sun that we still have. So I mean, we are trying to get as much possible to go out and enjoy the sun before the gray weather takes control.
5-6 months of it. Yeah. So we've got Iri Edit saying hello. Hi, one of our regulars. And as I say, Ibram's going to be here today, so we'll be popping some chats in. Any of those super tricky questions we can't handle, we have Ibram there as our backup. So.
Thanks, Ibrahim.
And so we're tuning in from LA. 64 degrees. That'd be nice. I can have a bit of that. And we've got Tech Guy, sunny in London. Lovely. Nice. So let's get started on our topic, because we've got lots of information to go through here and some really nice links to share with you and some great training content as well. But let's start with a first one, which is important. So why would you recommend starting learning Postgres today?
Well, I can take this one. I think it's, my team also covers all the relational databases, commercial and open source, but Postgres is really interesting. And what really fascinates me about Postgres is that it's not a new technology. Postgres history begins with the Postgres project at Berkeley University in 1986. So Postgres has a rich history. But, even if it has been around for more than 39 years, is one of the most desired and highest ranked among several relational databases in the market. So I want to also share what are some numbers here. You can see clearly that is the most popular for professional developers, but also is the most popular for professionals who are developing generative AI applications. So even if it says rich history, it really drives innovation and really fascinates me.
Yeah, no, it's a good. It's interesting the age, isn't it? Because I started doing Postgres. It was probably about 7 years ago now, and then when I started reading, I was like, wow, I can't believe Postgres is that old. I was like, wow, it's 39 years. It's
39
incredible.
years. It's a life.
A really great
Yeah.
development by a big community.
It's very strong
Yes.
community, and one of the most
Seriously
important
impressive.
reason why I also kind of jumped ships. I was working with other databases, when I joined AWS, but the community and the features and the power that this database has, Postgres has, that enticed me to jump ships, and then I started working with it. Since then,
Never look back.
never looked back.
Yeah. So, and it's a good one talking about a strong community. So, can you tell us, Paolo, a little bit about how AWS are contributing to that community as well?
Yeah, so we are contributing. We have several active contributors to Postgres project, with also people in a core team, in committers who also develop, for example, bugs fixing or new features. So really, what we want to do is to continue to sustain the community. No matter who is contributing, it's important that the community continues to prosper and keep delivering awesome features and great also user experience. And in particular, our commitment was relevant, especially in the past releases, Postgres 16 and Postgres 17 in particular. And now today we are the second largest contributor worldwide. So we are contributing in different ways, authoring features, helping to review them, and playing an important role when we need to release the features and make sure that the features are committed. So it's a pleasure to be part of this community.
It is, yeah. And we've got some people here. Yeah, Eerie Edits. No idea it was that old. Yeah, and same here from Tech Guys. So yeah, we're hitting a few people with some numbers here, which is surprising them. So why are we seeing this commitment from AWS then, Paolo?
So I think it's important to say, of course, we have designed cloud solutions to run Postgres in AWS Cloud. Probably some of you have heard about Amazon RDS and Amazon Aurora, our cloud solution for running Postgres. So it's important to continue to add new features and growing the Postgres itself, because it will ultimately and automatically help users run Postgres in AWS. So in specific, Amazon itself uses Postgres to run many of its operations. So we want to continue to make this contribution, sustainable contribution, because it helps Postgres in general. And also, I think we went beyond what is the traditional database management with Amazon Aurora Postgres, and I think it's one of the most relevant services that we will discuss today.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good one talking about Aurora. So
yeah.
Before we talk about Aurora, who knows when Aurora was launched? If you could drop it in the chat. I've got no prize for you, but it'd be you just get the kudos to get it right.
Who knows?
Who knows what the date was? No Googling as well. So, and just give us a guess in the chat as well. So, whether it's, I'll give you a few differences. So, 2019, 2021, or 2017. Which one do you think it was? Anyway, so let's drop in the chat and let us know. But can you tell us a little bit about Aurora? People maybe don't know what Aurora is. Tell us a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to highlight that when we have introduced Aurora effectively, we have introduced one of the most powerful innovations in the relational database space. So we have decided effectively at the architectural level to separate the compute and the storage. And this is a fundamental architectural decision that has changed completely the database landscape forever, I would say. So decoupling the storage and the compute. That helped effectively Aurora to deliver performance and high availability of a commercial database. So we have the compute layer that takes care of SQL transactions and caching, and then the storage layer that takes care of everything else. So really, we want to continue to invest in these capabilities, create effectively databases that are effortless, highly scalable, and highly available. And one of the most also recent interesting architecture that we have launched is Amazon Aurora DSQL or Distributed SQL. I hope you heard about this launch, that event last year. So with Aurora DSQL provides virtually unlimited scalability, no infrastructure management, and 5 nines multi-region availability with automatic failover recovery. And of course, it's Postgres compatible. So it's important for us to continue to invest on Postgres.
Yeah, and we did a show on DSQL as well, and I remember it being our 100th show. That's why it rings in my mind. So do take a look at our previous shows. So Aurora, Ibrahim can chuck it in the chat. Our past shows. There's show notes on it. There's a link to the video as well, so you can go and see that on Catch Up as well. We've also done a few Aurora shows and a few Postgres shows in the past as well. So go take a look at them as well. So we've got some. Here we go. 2014. So. No, it was 2017. I'll tell you now. Put you out your misery. So I'm going with the old state.
You know what, Tony? I think that guy is right. I mean, to be honest, if you talk about Aurora specifically, it was
Aurora, yeah. Did I say it?
But
I don't
the Postgres version,
yes, it was. Yeah, Postgres was 2017. But you're right. Aurora itself was 2014. Yeah, with MySQL, weren't it? Yeah,
exactly. So
it's interesting that shift as well, isn't it? Like MySQL back in the day was really popular. You know, it was a huge. It was if you probably looked at that chart, MySQL would have been at the top, and Postgres would have been a bit further down. But that certainly took a shift. Because I remember when I was looking for, you know, an open source database to use, and it really was a tight competition between the two. But Postgres is, you're really driving forward now. So. And I mean, Chris, 2017. So yeah, Aurora Postgres was there. Yeah. So cool. Let's move on. So what are we doing to make Postgres better then, Paula?
Well, for sure, if we see, you know, the features today also in Postgres that we use every day, it's because also they come from our conversations with the customer. So directly speaking with the customer and capturing feedback is important to continue to evolve also this engine. So as I mentioned before, we are active contributors. So it's important for us to evangelize, to help everyone to learn more Postgres. It's a fascinating technology, and that's why we have decided to launch this learning plans. And I think today we're going to dive deep on how to use a skill builder and how to upskill yourself in these competencies.
Yeah, and that is an absolutely perfect segue, that, Paula, because the team here has done some amazing things with this content. I've had a good read of it myself, and the certification at the end of it as well. We'll let Marco show you it in action here now. Do you want to share your screen, Marco, at this point?
Absolutely.
Let's do that. There we go.
So basically, Paula mentioned AWS Skill Builder. For who doesn't know that, Skill Builder is the AWS digital learning platform that basically people all over the world digitally at their own pace can learn AWS stuff. So AWS services, but considering our context today, Amazon Aurora and Amazon RDS as well. In fact, on Skill Builder, you can find a lot of digital content. I'm gonna talk about which type maybe later. But one also the reason I'm here is, as Paul anticipated it, we have just recently published 2 learning plans. So what is a learning plan in the skill builder language is a set of trainings, set of digital trainings. And we just recently published 2 learning plans, the core one, the core concepts learning plan one, and the advanced concepts knowledge badge readiness path. So basically, these 2 plans contain several trainings, 10 trainings each. These are digital trainings, digital courses you can attend, again, at your own pace, basically whenever you want. And they are about Postgres in general. Then some of them focus on Amazon RDS for Postgres, and others on Amazon Aurora Postgres. So plenty of content here, and the core plan is available without requiring any subscription. So people who register to Skill Builder for free can basically learn our database technologies, Postgres-based, without any cost, without any price. On the other side, we provide the advanced learning plan, and these are basically, these include digital content plus also labs. In fact, if you scroll down, just scroll down a bit, you can find advanced topics related to RDS for Postgres and Aurora Postgres, plus also labs that you can, that again, people can start, and they are available for an hour, and then once they finish it, they can just redo it again and again, how many times they want. And basically, these labs give you access to a protected and secure AWS account, temporarily open for 24 hours, that they can use to do the lab. People have freedom, but of course, security is our top priority. So our labs and the account of our labs are basically protected by some guardrails. And so people can only do what the lab is supposed to do, but for sure learners can learn a lot of stuff. And in particularly, I really wanted to share, to show you basically what is a Builder Labs experience on AWS Skill Builder. And I decided to pick up one of my favorite, effortless relational scalability with Amazon Aurora Serverless version 2. So serverless is the topic here. And when people open the lab, basically this is what they get. So they get a very easy to use interface where people can see immediately when the lab will expire. So I started it basically a few hours ago to be ready, and it's gonna be expired tomorrow. And different languages available. And also, very, very important, this is a kind of new feature, the AWS Learning Assistant. So people, when they do the lab about, in this case, Aurora Serverless, they can basically click on this purple icon, and they can interact with the GenAI chatbot and ask to the chatbot who knows about the lab, information about the lab, or about the technologies involved. For example, in this lab, we ask learners to create an Aurora serverless cluster, as you can see here. But immediately after, we basically, let me go straight to the point. We ask learners to use a PGBench, a very popular open source tool that DBAs can use to stress their databases and see how they act under certain conditions with a artificial generated workload. And for example, if you have a command like this with several parameters, you can ask to the chatbot what these parameters are. So I don't know, I can do a test. If I just copy this test, I can say, hey, I want to run this PGBench command. Can you explain me each single parameter used here? And then I pass the command, and then it's going to give me the response pretty quickly. So this is cool because you're doing a lab, you are alone, because this lab can be done, at home at your own pace, and you can find information about each single parameter of PageBench. And the same thing, you can ask questions to Aurora or about Aurora and about Aurora Serverless.
Is that just for the labs, that Marco, or do you get that in the other training pieces as well?
So we are trying to add this component to most of our learning resources. This specifically is for assisting people during labs and when they are.
It's really nice. That I like that. It's good.
It is. And when you basically click on the button Open Console, this is what you get, folks, is the AWS Cloud. This is Amazon Aurora. It's the Aurora serverless cluster I created following the instruction. The lab, for example, asks you also to interact with Amazon CloudWatch to build this sample dashboard to see what happens to Aurora serverless when we start to stress it with a PageBench workload generated. And this is what I'm going to do just to show you. I'm going to take the second, basically, PageBench workload that the lab asked us to run is this one. I'm going to use Systems Manager, Session Manager to connect to this Bastion host that people can use securely to interact with the database. No need to install or prepare any Postgres client. And you don't have only CloudWatch in this lab. If you open the left menu of CloudWatch, you can also open the database insights, which is the evolution of RDS performance insights feature, as probably many of the people watching us know. So a very cool tool that our customers can use to get an overview about how their RDS fleet is performing from a single pane of glass, or if you want to just know how a specific instance, Aurora or RDS instance, is working, well, we can do that as well. So, for example, if I'm gonna look at how it's behaving over the last, 12 hours, we can see that it was a stress in the past. And for example, the workload that I just started now was basically this one. It's a read-only workload, and we can have a look at the wait events, or if we go to SQL here, we can see the SQL statements that are running. And if I scroll down, I can see the statement with bind variables used and all the variables, the literals used, and for every statement, we have plenty of statistics. You can say, Marco, we just see a bunch of them, yeah. But if you click on this gear, you can see the huge amount of statistics and numbers so you can extract for every query. And if you go to database telemetry in this specific moment in time, you can see how my cluster was working and what were the most important matrix values at that time. And again, if you click on Create Widget, you can also see the large amount of metrics we have, including the CloudWatch ones. And these and other activities is what you can do with this lab and also with other labs. So I really suggest people to try. Important to say, the Builder Labs resources are available with subscription. So people have to purchase a subscription that can be individual, or especially when a company comes to us, then teams subscriptions as well. Yeah. This is what I wanted to show you, folks. And,
yeah, we had a question for that. Is there do you need an AWS account for it? And I think this was relating to the skill builder in general. So you don't necessarily need an AWS account for skill builder, do you?
No, you don't need it at all. In skill builder, you can work with AWS Jam. You can work with our gamification forms of gamifications like Cloud Quest or Card Clash. You can work with our labs without need your own AWS account.
Yeah, and then the lab gives you actually get an AWS account as part of the lab, don't you? Which you can use for 24 hours, which is great.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a really, really cool way of learning, and you can't break anything. Which is great way to learn.
Yeah, and I think it's also for everyone, if I may, because it's for maybe people that they can start effectively for the very first time using Postgres, or maybe more advanced or experienced, learners. So we have created this very comprehensive learning plans for everyone, but at the same time it's not necessary to go through all the modules, the entire learning plan. You can also pick the module that really want to explore, you want to dive deep, and that's also possible, of course.
It's probably worth also in mentioning that there is I don't know if we could get it up, Marco, at the end there is an assessment. So there is a Credly badge. So if you do go through all the training, at the end there is a badge, a certification badge for this. It's on my list of things to go and do myself. So
yeah,
I am going to go and do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for sure,
I would like to get this badge. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can get the database badge, and this is another way, alternative to our AWS certifications, to demonstrate your knowledge. In this case, specifically on our database services, in particularly Amazon Aurora for Postgres, Amazon Aurora Postgres, and Amazon RDS for Postgres. Absolutely.
And I've already seen people getting the badge and posting it on LinkedIn, which is amazing to see. When I think back to when I started learning Postgres, if this was out there, it would have been amazing, to have. And I know that's why the team created this, for those sort of people. So I've got a question here as well. Let me just bring this one up. I think this was relating back to when we were talking about Postgres in general. Is it always free? So I guess we can talk a little bit about, there is free tier available for Postgres RDS, if you did want to get started. That is, so I think if we could get Ibram, if you could just post free tier up and what is available. But I do know you can get Postgres RDS for free tier in your account if you had it, for example. And then we've already talked about what you get with Skill Builder for free as well. We've got another good question here as well, which I think could be good for you. So any book recommendations for someone starting to learn SQL and RDBMS concepts? I mean, of course, Skill Builder is a great one to start with, I would say, if you want to learn Postgres.
No, I think the reason why it is also great to start with, because that puts in structure to the overall learning plan, and which is very important. I mean, you can go to internet and search various documents which talks about, let's say, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, or RDBMS itself. But again, it becomes difficult to create a structure out of them. And a course like this, which is available on Skill Builder, can help you to basically drive your learning plan in a more structured, well-constructed manner. So that can be, I mean, these sort of things really, really helps. Coming from me, I've been working with multiple different databases, and every now and then, after every couple of years, I find myself learning something new. And I think anything which can have a bit of a structure that helps and ease that learning path.
Yeah.
No, I can really confirm that Siki here was absolutely an incredible SQL Server expert. Still is an incredible SQL Server expert, but now also a Postgres expert. And really thanks for all the support that you have given to our customers, partners, and ISV to learn and contribute in Postgres.
Keep learning.
So it is possible. It is possible.
And Gen AI does make your life a little bit easier now, I would say. The amount of times I mean, people have the favorite tools. I use Q Developer command line. I use it for tons of things. Just go and create me this script. You give me this bit of SQL. And say, I mean, if you're not using those tools as well, do take a look at those. They can make your life a lot easier. So Crazy DBA 5. Hello, good to see you. And wanting to get the badge, that's great. That's what we want to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, get that badge. And let us know if you've got the badge, anyone. If anyone's got it, please shout out there and go, I've got the badge. And what we'd like to see is that nice trend on LinkedIn with people posting those badges. So And congratulations on the 100th episode. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, it was a good achievement for us. We're very proud of that one. So, and pricing as well. The RDS pricing is there. Ibrahim's posted as well. So that's great. Okay, so let's move on from Skill Builder and let's talk about some of the open source advantages. So Siki, when we're talking about open source and talking about the advantage of it, let's start with some of the cost benefits. So if you could share with some information on that.
Right. So specifically talking about PostgreSQL, and when it comes to cost, the major advantage which PostgreSQL carries is that it comes under PostgreSQL license, which is basically an open source license. So there is no licensing fees involved when you start using Postgres. So unlike many commercial databases that we have. Similarly, it translates into lower total cost of ownership as well, because now organization and companies, they do not need to go for those expensive per core licensing model or per user licensing model, and they can start using something which is essentially licensing free. So it makes it suitable for those companies, for those enterprises which are using open source databases such as PostgreSQL to basically scale without worrying about cost increases in terms of licensing model.
Yeah, and it is quite surprising when you've come from an engine where you do pay licenses to then actually see what you get for no cost. It is a free piece of software you can use, which is just, it still amazes me, the scale and what you can do with Postgres. So it's really just remarkable. So, and interesting when we talk about community support for Postgres, how does the community support Postgres, Siki?
So I think it is one of the most vivid community from database perspective, which I've seen. With a large global community, there are committers, developers, spread out across globally, thousands of developers, and even companies like AWS. We have a lot of committers, contributors to open source Postgres, which provides quick bug fixing, new feature. This is something that you need, right? For example, let's say a particular functionality can be modified to improve its functions or improve its performance. Then community is very hard driven in terms of making it better in the next release or next cycle. And for that, you need commitment. And this is something which I've seen from my personal experience, that the community for PostgreSQL is very committed towards making it more optimally suited for enterprises, right? So very large global community, quick to reach, right? And, they are filled up with extremely talented individuals, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not only that, they also maintain extensive documentation, tutorials. So if you go on internet and try to, just look into various PostgreSQL functionality, there's a very good documentation out there available. A lot of examples available in PostgreSQL documentation as well. There are a lot of blogs because it's a very famous engine. It's widely used, so a lot of people also blog about it. You will also find somebody from AWS writes a lot of blog around PostgreSQL as well. And then we have a lot of forums as well, developer forums, right? Stack Overflow, wherein people inside and out always talk about PostgreSQL, how to solve a particular problem with respect to PostgreSQL and whatnot.
Yeah, and we got a link there we can share as well with the Postgres docs. There's also tools like pgadmin as well. Do you talk a little bit about that, Siki?
Yeah, so it is a highly extensible database. There are a lot of extensions available for Postgres. So people who are not aware about extensions basically are some functionality which you can build outside of Postgres, and then with the help of extension support, you can just patch in those functionality to PostgreSQL. There are extensive tools, third-party open source tools available, which can help you to administer, monitor, maintain your databases. And pgadmin is basically one of those, a very good GUI-based tool, which you can use basically somebody who's very new to Postgres and does not like to, basically run their commands on a black and white screen. Like I did not like running it when I started my career back in the olden days. But that's primarily because I started with SQL Server, right, where everything was GUI based back then.
Yeah.
So pgadmin really come in very handy for those folks.
Yeah. I mean, I like PSQL as well. PSQL is really neat once you get using it. Yeah, it's great. It is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's people who like GUIs out there. And to be fair, GUIs are good for certain things. Yeah, but
especially when you are at the very start of your learning phase, right? I mean,
100%.
It basically clarifies so many things and do not have to worry about thinking about the syntax, thinking about, if you're running a wrong query and things like that.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit. So for people who are potentially starting out, and we talked about PG Bench before, Marco touched on it a little bit. If you just want some data in a database, PG Bench is great for that. You can just put some data in and then you can go and have a look at what the data is. And it has relationships with the tables as well. Very, very simple structure. It's a really great tool to get started with. And you can scale that up as well. You can put lots of data in if you want. You can keep loading data into your heart's content. So, but they're good tools. Like things like PG Bench, PG Admin, using your PSQL are good tools to get you started. So we touched on it a little bit then about the customization. So tell us a little bit more about the flexibility and customization of what you can actually do inside of Postgres.
So Postgres is a highly customizable database. What does that mean? Generically speaking, that it can support various workloads. So the default configuration would work well with majority of the use cases, but then it has so many switches and knobs that you can turn in the favor of your own workload, right? And that is possible because it is highly flexible and customizable. So first of all, I mean, I talked about the extension model that PostgreSQL follows. That is, anybody can develop those functionalities in the form of extensions and then patch those functionalities into their PostgreSQL database by just installing that extension. So it makes it highly adaptable for specific use cases as well. And then it has, support for custom data types, multiple functions, inbuilt functions and operator as well. And even developers can write stored procedures, functions in multiple different languages such as Python, Perl, Java, C, PL, PGSQL, and I'm definitely maybe forgetting a few of them. Right, so it's like there are a lot of things available in PostgreSQL which can support developers, which can support varied workloads, and ranging from very small to enterprise scale.
You can now have a vector database in Postgres with PG Vector. That's is one of the most popular extension now, especially with these generative AI applications, and everyone wants to create generative AI applications. So you can take advantage of PG Vector, for example.
And that is it's a great example of community support and extensions and the speed of what the advancement of the extensions. It's really interesting because that was rapid how the PG Vector extensions was developed and moved forward to meet the demand for it. It's a really good example of that.
Absolutely. And this is an extension, right? So basically that functionality can be then passed into your database in the form of an extension. So it makes it, with these sort of extension, makes it highly extensible.
Yeah. So we've got a question here. So any sanity checks or security measures are being taken before approving these extensions?
So yes, definitely. So there are, when it comes to RDS or Aurora PostgreSQL, which are basically the managed offering of PostgreSQL on AWS, there are some sanity checks that you need to basically do. There is a model of extension that you can actually develop and then you can install, as long as those extensions are written in the supported languages only, right? So if there are languages which are not supported, if there are languages which are not secure, then those extensions may not work out.
In fact, also in Aurora Postgres, for example, you won't have all the possible extensions that you will find in Postgres that is available. So that says the reason, because we really pay attention to the impact on the security. So security is our priority. That's why also some extensions are not available.
Yeah, and there's a wide range of extensions as well. I think we've got a link again to share for that as well, around the extensions what are available on RDS and Aurora Postgres.
Yeah.
We've also got so there's a question, I missed this question. Is it possible to relaunch the same lab again after 24 hours? I believe you said it was, didn't you, Marco? You could just keep redoing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
cool.
labs can be relaunched how many times you want, as soon as you are in the subscription period, because you can purchase as an individual a monthly subscription or a year subscription. So you decide. If you get a month, for a month you can play with all of our labs, more than 200, how many times you want.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And then another question here as well. What about official support? I believe this was talking about when we're just talking about Postgres in general. From a support perspective, if you are got an RDS instance or an Aurora instance, how does that work?
So from support perspective, I can take this up. From support perspective, if you are using RDS or PostgreSQL, and if you run into any sort of issues with respect to the service that you are using, you can always raise a support case with AWS. And depending on the severity, our support team will help you out to resolve this with the utmost priority.
Yeah, and it's probably worth mentioning as well, this is where people like yourself are brought in as well, Siki. And then if there is those, tricky issues, what need that extra support, you've got people like Siki, people like myself, Paola's a manager of a team. Even if we can't help, we go then to the engineering teams and the guys who are actually writing the code inside of Postgres. So that's kind of the level of support you get when you're getting a managed database offering at AWS.
Yeah, I can add something here. For example, of course, we have specialists, Postgres specialists that can support you. They can also provide workshop immersion days and support effectively to apply best practices when you develop your Postgres workload in AWS. But there are effectively teams that are contributing, so they can eventually support in bug fixing, and they can release these fixes back into the community. Also, another interesting advantage of using Postgres in AWS is the RDS extended support. So for example, if you're running a Postgres version that is pretty old, has already reached the community end of life, so it's not anymore in the standard support, you can still use that version with RDS extended support. It's a fee that you have to pay, but you can get the support of AWS in this case.
Yeah, I think it's always worth mentioning, though, do keep your databases up to date. So,
of course, this is the best practice. Please consider to maintain the latest release, the latest version, if possible. Of course, test also your environment before going to production, so you are comfortable to running also even mission critical workloads with RDS and Aurora Postgres.
Yeah, and we touched a little bit about security before, but can we just talk a little more about security on Postgres?
Oh, security on Postgres. Yeah, sure. I think I can pick it up. So before even we talk about security, I mean, definitely when it comes to security, PostgreSQL has granular security controls in the form of role-based access control, row-level security, and SSL encryption, that is encryption in transit. So you can ensure you can be assured that you will have that enterprise-grade protection available for your database always. But on the other side, there is, because of its nature that it is open source, everyone has this visibility on the code itself. So anyone can review PostgreSQL code as well. And it also makes it easier to identify if there is any sort of bug or if there is any sort of patch vulnerability. And because we have, or PostgreSQL has a lot of community members who are always active, these sort of security issues, once identified, are typically addressed quickly by those active community members.
Yeah, awesome. So we touched a little bit before on enterprise grade features. So it'd be really interesting to let's talk a little bit about some of the enterprise features for Amazon's Aurora. You know, so let's start with like HA and, you know, how do you manage in AWS we talk about, you know, designing for failure. So how do you go about doing that with products like Aurora Postgres?
Right. So, I mean, as we already have been talking about that, we have multiple different options of managed Postgres in AWS, and Aurora is one of those. And the thing which makes it a bit more peculiar is its architecture itself. So let's start with high availability and fault tolerance. So when it comes to Aurora, whenever we are storing your data, we are not storing your data once. We are storing your data in 6 different copies. We are not charging for all those 6 different copies. We are only charging for one of those copies, but we are storing your data 6 times in 3 different availability zones. And this is to ensure that your data can withstand any sort of easy failure. So if something goes wrong with an easy, your data is still available. So it is basically to make your data more durable and more resilient to failures. Along with that, within the architecture itself, we have a concept called as Aurora replicas. So you can have up to 15 low latency read replicas with your main primary read-write instance that you can use for read scaling or providing those read replicas as failover targets in any sort of issues with respect to failure. Something goes wrong with your primary instance. If you have one read replica available, then that read replica can become as a failover partner. And this automatic failover, in case something goes wrong with your primary instance, is always automatic. So once you start using Aurora, you don't have to worry about it. When you have a read replica and something goes wrong with your primary instance, Aurora automatically promotes a read replica with very minimal failover time. And then your application does not even have to do anything. You do not have to change the connection string. Your application would definitely go through a small glitch, during the failover time, but that's about it. And your application will continue to work as it is, as before failover.
Yeah, and you can get around those small glitches as well by putting something like a proxy in front, can't you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people don't aware of that, you've got RDS proxy there, which can really start to, if it really doesn't even look like it goes down, you can still, if you add a PSQL connection and you have a failover, you're like, well, I'm still there connected. It's really impressive when you get talking from a HA perspective. And the storage one for me is like, it still kind of blows my mind, the storage and how it's done for Aurora. I remember it was many years ago when I was at reInvent and I went to a deep dive, a real deep dive on Aurora storage. I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
This is like mad. It really is. It's immense stuff what's been built from a storage perspective. And so here's one area we've not talked about. How about if you've got a global workload? Because we do see customers with global workloads. How do we handle those in Aurora?
So we have a feature specifically designed for those use cases, which we call as Aurora Global Database. So what it does, this basically can be used in 2 different use cases. So one use case could be when you're running a global application, which is spread out in multiple regions, and you have users sitting in different regions as well. So in order to bring that data closer to the end users, you can use Aurora Global Database, which will replicate your data from one region to another and will bring the data closer to the users which are sitting in a different region. That is one of the feature of global database. The second feature is something which you can use for a disaster recovery feature as well. I mean, we have hardly seen that entire region goes down. I mean, sometime it can happen, sometime it happened, but again, it's highly rare. But it can still happen, right? So how can modern application assure their businesses that even in the event of a regional failure, your data is going to remain as it is, or your data is going to be safe? So that disaster recovery in the event of region failure can be configured with the help of global databases. Again, your data is being replicated synchronously from one region to another with the click of a button. We have separate infrastructure for replication when it comes to global databases, and which ensures that the performance of that replication does not impact your main primary database, and it provides very high throughput as well because of the infrastructure of for the replication that we are using for global databases.
Nice one. Do you see a lot of customers using global database? You seeing a trend for it?
Oh yes, a lot of customers are using. I mean, again, I said these two use cases are very important. So we have a lot of customers who are using global applications. So they want the users who are sitting in a different region to read the data with lower latencies. So this is one of the use cases. And if that is not the use case for disaster recovery, we have, I think, a lot of customers also using global databases.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Global databases, there is a very unique concept of calling of a configuration called as headless cluster. So if you are
Very
sensitive
interesting one.
in terms of pricing and you just want to use global database for disaster recovery, you can simply let your data to replicate from one region to another. Do not have to have any sort of instances in a different region. So your storage-based application will continue to operate, but you won't have any instances running in your secondary region. And the separation of compute and storage in Aurora, which is the core crux of the architecture, has made it possible. So if you are sensitive to cost, you can basically use global database in a headless configuration.
Yeah, it's a real cost-effective way of managing that, because in effect of a DR happening, in most cases, you are going to be going, oh, there's a DR, what? And then you'd be scaling up your instances and you'd be good to go. It's pretty neat feature that.
Yeah.
It's really good. I'm just looking at time now, so we've got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to ask you a question here now. You guys don't know. I'm going to ask you this question. So, what would you say is your favorite feature of Aurora Postgres? I know what mine is, but I'll let you guys go first.
Well, actually, I would say probably is this Aurora DSQL is really interesting and fascinating. It's the design, the architecture, the fact that it is virtually, it can scale virtually in a limited way, and it is serverless. It's a pure serverless, so there's no infrastructure that you have to manage. That's also an interesting one. Probably, if you want to discover, if you want to dive deep on DSQL, let's review some sessions that we have already done also with Tony and the team, but we will continue to discuss more about the SQL. So yeah, that's my favorite one.
Yeah. Sikip, yours?
Well, for me, it would be fast clones.
Oh, fast clones.
Mine as well.
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting.
I love that feature. It's amazing.
I mean, right now, in the modern era, we are collecting more and more data every single day, and the database sizes have grown tremendously. And that's why Aurora supports up to 256 terabyte of storage in one cluster. Just imagine that if you are using a database which has size in terabytes, how much time would it take to take a backup of that database? I mean, it can take hours, right? But sometimes in a development pipeline, you may have to check a functionality real quick. What would you do? Take a backup and restore? Well, it'll take hours. Who's going to wait for that long of a time? So fast clone is a method in Aurora which can help you to basically create a clone of your main database in very quick time. And when I say very quick time, it's like 10-15 minutes. Because of the underlying technology that it uses, which is called as copy on write mechanism. So it basically starts empty, but keeps on filling up as and when you use or you change any data in the primary or the clone server. So it's a fascinating, again, feature for me.
And cost effective as well.
And cost effective as well, absolutely.
Mega cost effective.
Yes.
And Marco, last but not least.
Yeah, I don't want to go so far, folks. So for me, still remembering when when I started working with the cloud 10 years ago, and for me, multi-AZ was enough. When I saw multi-AZ and the chance to to get a database, a standby database that I don't even see, but it's working, it's there, and it will be promoted, and the primary automatically recreated. Very important step. Then yes, still remember days ago working on restores during the night, restoring the former primary to let it become the new standby.
And then looking after it as well, making sure it works. If you use things like data guard, or even if you use I've used Patroni with Postgres on-prem, and it was like, oh, this is a nightmare. So yeah, I give you that one. That's a good one, multi-AZ.
Yeah.
So we've got a few minutes left, and I'd just like to recap again, if we can. We'll just circle back with the the Skill Builder course. So I'll get share Marco's screen again if we can.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We'll have a look at the Skill Builder, the content again, and we'll share the links as well, because I'd really like, so if anybody's joined now from they've not seen the start of the show, what Marco's showing here is Skill Builder, and I'm going to hand it over to Marco, and he can talk about the two courses we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Very quickly, a very quick recap. Skillbuilder.aws. This is the website that people have to remember. And in Skill Builder, you can find not only the core and the advanced learning plan that we just published and that you can use to learn Postgres and also Amazon RDS for Postgres and Aurora Postgres, but really whatever technology in AWS you have in mind. I was looking at it, we already developed something about the SQL, by the way, and of course generative AI stuff, artificial intelligence stuff, and you can learn at your own pace whenever you want. And you can also get a lot of material resources in case you want to get certified. So together with the badges, we also have resources about our certifications. And last but not the least, different forms of gamifications to learn by playing. So learn with fun. This is it.
Yeah, great. And do get those badges, people. Let us know if you get the badges. Hit us up on LinkedIn and share that you've got those badges. We're going to go and get those badges ourselves as well. I know we've been looking at internally using these courses as well, which is great. So I mean, thanks for joining the show today. It's been a great show. And we're here again next week as well. So next week, we have got Accelerate DynamoDB data modeling with AI from requirements to production-ready design in minutes. So this looks a really, really cool show. So we'll be here next week, same time. So 5 p.m. CET, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can get us on twitchtv.aws/AWS and also on YouTube AWS events. We've got our email there as well, which I'll get Ibram to share. So if you ever want to talk to us as well, just fire an email through to that email address, or you can get us on LinkedIn. And also our link to our past episodes is there as well. So I'll just say thanks, guys. Awesome show. Thanks, audience, for interacting. It was a great show as always.
And
cheers, everyone.
Enjoy learning.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you later, everyone. Bye.
Bye.